Is that the best welcome you've gotten at any con ever?
Fantastic.
Well, that was a wonderful Trontonian, right?
Trontonian.
Trontonian.
Yeah.
Trontonian.
I'm working on pronunciation. I gotta get right. I'm from Texas.
We have some of that on Cybertron, by the way. Trontonian.
Now, I'm going to kick things off with a couple of questions. We want to make sure that we get to every audience question humanly possible. My friend Jim right here in the center aisle, you see him with the microphone. Let's hear for our crew that keep this show running. You can start lining up with your questions. We're here because of you, the fans, so we want to make sure that we get to everybody possible. The two of you have been doing conventions for a little while. What has it been like getting the love that you get from all of these fans, the stories of personal trials and tribulations that people have gone through, that your work has helped them get through?
You know, there's something really special about going back to 1984. And for all of those that do go back that far, I can certainly say there is something dramatically special about that. Because we all went through the movie in 1986.
We all survived it somehow.
Anyway, but sharing that, and there are people here that were kids at that time, and as I suffered in another way. What? I'm getting whacked on page 17? I'm not coming back? No, I'm not coming back, Frank!
Oh, Peter was so many different shades of blue and gray. You wouldn't know. And then I was shocked. I said, well, who am I going to fight? And then, then I turned into Galvatron. So I was replaced.
Yeah, so there's a lot of sadness and a lot of joy, that transpired over those years, but that was traumatic for me, and the special part about that was, to be brought back because it was so traumatic was one thing, but then, they'd get rid of me again. I said, I'm getting tired of this, What do you have to do, to be Optimus Prime? And when the movie came out, this is strange, I had to audition for the part that I created. Hollywood, that's the way it is.
The fans are really the reason that the two of you are this indelible part of the franchise to this day. They keep bringing you guys back because we keep demanding it.
I love you guys.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that really you are the boss, and the studios make the product for you. So if you're not happy with what you're seeing and what you're getting, let the studios know, because they do it for you, and we do it for you, and you are so great keeping us in the loop. It was the internet originally where we kind of found out that there was you people out there, because we didn't get found well.
Before the internet, we didn't have any thermometer to tell us what you guys thought, because we didn't even get fan letters.
All the fan mail went straight to the company, right?
I don't know where it went.
It's interesting. They must have a department where all the fan mail goes, because nobody in the industry, at least at that time, saw fan mail.
It's called recycle bin.
Recycle bin. Round file.
Up to 16,000 for Megatron.
Yeah.
And recycle bin.
Yeah.
4 for Prime. Yeah, well, let's read them.
But anyhow, so we appreciate it very, very much.
I want to turn it over to the audience. I've got a couple more for you. Peter, not only do I know you for Optimus Prime, but I heard your voice as the announcer on shows like Voltron and various other shows. I know that fans ask you all the time, what other jobs really stuck out to you? And sometimes it's you're doing a session and you're doing a bunch of stuff, and then it's a different thing the next day and a different thing the next day. Was there anything that stuck out to you, like Transformers did to some extent, that felt like something that there was something really special about it? Or was Transformers really the big one?
It's hard to say. I'm not speaking for Frank, but I know he's got 10 times the experience that I've had. But my first first job was the little man in the ball for the Sonny and Cher show.
It's the Sonny and Cher show. Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny and Cher.
My first job in Hollywood.
I remember that so well because I was like, uh-oh, who's this? I'm in trouble now. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, he's done that. He's doing all the noises and then he's got that voice.
Sonny and Cher.
I had my voice. Hi, gang.
I'm assuming there are at least 1 or 2 Scooby-Doo fans in the audience, right?
Scooby-Doo.
Not just known for one voice on Scooby-Doo, you got 2 Scooby-Doo-Doo.
Yeah, you know, it's strange because I never thought that I would have, because Peter's, even his natural voice when he talks, it just, to me, hairs come on my neck. He's just...
you're just in there.
But my natural voice is like this, it's like... And so when I was auditioning for, and went in for the original Scooby 50 years ago, the only reason I really got that part was because I was that age. Long time ago! But my voice was what they were looking for, just kind of the, you know, and it hasn't really changed that much, but like, I think Peter, and he's just like,
ABC, CBS, roll out.
hi, still Frank. After all these years, still Frank.
Well, something that was much more common when you were recording Transformers was group recording sessions where the whole cast of a cartoon was all together. Going back to Scooby-Doo, were you actually in the booth with Casey Kasem?
Oh yeah, in the old days, a few years ago, most of the sessions we recorded with a full cast, and there was benefits to that. You played off. In fact, even Transformers, we usually had a full cast.
A lot of fun.
And it was so much fun because we were all friends, got to know each other, and we could play off each other. And even during the downtime, we could joke with each other. So it was never boring. It was always fun.
He was always the one to try to make me laugh during a very important silent period. And his main ambition was to do it when I was drinking some water so that I would convulse it and come through my nose and my eyes and my ears. That was his ambition.
It's better with coffee. I mean, it gets painful for him. But yeah, we used to irritate him. But, and then later, when we started doing, I think Peter had kind of the same experience when we started doing film sweetening, or it's called ADR. And if you're doing monsters or doing voices for features, you work alone. And then now, even doing our sessions, most of the time we work alone. And when you're doing the monsters, it's not bad because you can concentrate on the moment instead of waiting to do it while actors are talking, then you have to do it again. And so it has its benefits, but basically a cast is more enjoyable, I think.
Oh, always. Because so many spontaneous things happen between actors, and actors usually like to turn on other actors, by, being at their best. So there's always magnificent performances, that take you by surprise, especially different from when we're just reading the script at the very beginning, going through it, and then actually taping it. But the performance levels sometimes are sparkling, glorious, and funny. A lot of times, funny, very funny, and very, very funny. Funny.
Yeah, funny like funny ha ha. Like ha ha. Funny ha ha. Yeah, funny.
I have one more for you.
He's so serious all the time.
I have one more for you before we turn it over. Frank, you are very well known for acting opposite yourself so many times. You will find yourself doing multiple voices on a show. But Peter, you did multiple voices on Transformers. Did you have to play against yourself pretty frequently on Transformers?
A couple of times I'd have to go from Optimus Prime to Ironhide, and so that would be kind of different. And sometimes I wasn't prepared, and I'd see Optimus Prime, I didn't read it through all the way, and then I got an Ironhide coming up, and so Ironhide, oh, gee whiz, Prime, I didn't do nothing. Well, I know you didn't, but there will be an opportunity. Autobots, pay attention. Ironhide, come on, Prime! Why are you singling me up? Oh, God, all I want to do is kick some butt. Frank had the major. He played so many different characters. You know what? I mean, we would go into a series, and we had to do 3 characters per script. You only get paid for 1, but we have to do 3. He would do 9, and you get paid for every 3. So he's getting 3 times as much as we are.
Yeah, ask him what kind of car he drives.
Hey, Garfield, how many roles did you play in that?
Well, I played a lot, but most of the time I just slept. Garfield is so much fun to do because all he does is just talks really slow and easy and eats lasagna so he can take a nap and What? Oh, it's Monday? Okay.
He's the king, come on. Nobody better.
All right, let's turn it over to the audience. We got something, I don't know, maybe we'll do something special for them toward the end. So let's try to get through everybody as quick as we can. Go for it.
Hey there. 2 questions. One is, which storyline has stuck with you the most through all the Transformers the stories you've made, except for Optimus Prime's dead? And the second one, have you ever tried to imitate each other? Like you do the Optimus voice and you do the Megatron voice?
Any storylines or Transformers that you particularly suck
I don't remember a lot of it. Oh, I don't remember a lot of them. Nothing really sticks out in my mind, except the obvious one.
Wow, way to throw salt in the wound, man.
Let me refresh your memory. I passed the matrix of leadership.
So I understand you do a very good Megatron.
No, I don't.
Oh.
No, I don't. I can't do that.
Is it at least entertaining?
I
I mean, I figure probably.
I think he does it a lot better when I'm not here.
Let me hear your Megatron.
I am Megatron. I am Megatron.
Leader of the Autobots.
The Autobots.
I won!
You won. It was that simple. It was that simple.
I won! And now I have the Autobots and the Decepticons. I tricked him.
Little did we know the first audience question was going to completely turn the axis in the Transformers war. Next up.
Thank you.
Hi, my question is for Peter. How would you describe your experience voicing Venger in the animated Dungeons & Dragons cartoon?
Dungeons and Dragons. What about him? What was it like? What was it like playing?
Venger, I didn't like Venger.
You didn't like his personality, or you didn't like playing? Or both?
I didn't like him at all. I don't like playing bad guys. I don't like playing bad guys. And yeah, I like playing happy guys. I mean, fun guys or meaningful guys. You know, as long as it doesn't take too much acting. You know, I mean, he has to really work. You know,
I just do an impersonation of my brother.
he really has to work.
Well, Peter, I got to ask you, tell us a little bit about your brother. Tell us about why he inspired the way that you have characterized Optimus Prime.
Well, my brother was a Marine. He's passed away several years ago. He served in Vietnam as an officer in the Marine Corps, K Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, 1st. And came home with a Bronze Star with V and Purple Hearts. And he was a changed man. He was always a great man, always my hero. He was 6 inches taller, smarter, great athlete, professional football player. He taught school. He was a commercial airline pilot. I mean, he was just my hero. You know, there's nobody better than he was. And, 13 months older, we had to box each other in school when we were boxers. And Larry never hurt me until I bloodied his nose one time. and because his nose would just bleed, if you touched it and it came down and it was all over him. And you know, I hadn't hurt him at all. It just, a fly could have broken his, bruised his nose. Anyway, everybody thought I was kicking the crap out of my brother Larry. And so I was showing off, and he got me in a hug and he said, "Peter, I swear, if you keep this up, I'm really gonna hurt you." And he reminded me, he gave me a thud with 14-ounce boxing gloves, they're heavier than me. And I go, boom, when it hits your whole face, it goes right through your entire body. And he said, I told you, Peter, I told you. So he was my hero. And when I told him the day I was going to audition for Optimus Prime, he said, "Where are you going, Pete?" I said, "I'm going to audition for a truck." Well, of course, he always thought my working in the theatrical world was a bit, questionable, to begin with, but to be a truck. And I said, "But Larry, he's a hero truck." He said, "Really?" I said, "Well, Peter, if you're gonna be a hero, be a real hero. Don't be a Hollywood phony. Don't go yelling and screaming and pretending you're a tough guy and doing all that Hollywood crap." He said, "Be a real hero. Be strong enough to be gentle, and be trustworthy, and accountable, and compassionate, and on and on and on." And the tone of his voice was down here like this, and he said, "So be a real hero." I said, "Good luck." So I went with that in mind, and I got to the audition. I looked at the page, and there it was. It said, "My name is Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots from the planet Cybertron." I could have just as easily as said, "My name is Larry Cullen, K Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines." And it just came out. I read the whole page, and by the time I got to the bottom, I said, "Whoa, I've never heard that before." He said, "Ooh, thank you, Larry." I walked out, and a week later, I got the job.
Thank you for sharing with us the story of your brother, which I'm sure, it is no easy emotional task. If we love Optimus Prime, we love him because of Larry Cullen. Let's get a round of applause for Larry Cullen. A great man, good man, who inspired, a great man who has been very good to so many of us.
Thank you.
Next up.
That's why it resonates. So that's why that character resonates.
Hi there. I'm here on behalf of my best friend, Greg. He couldn't make it today because he lives all the way in Scotland. But him and his cousin Callum have been fans of you guys for their whole lives. You guys made their childhood. So when I told him that you guys were going to be here, they literally freaked. So I told him that I would try my best to come and say just something quick to you guys, that they really appreciate all that you've done for their childhood, and that they love you so much, and that you've made a huge impact on them, so thank you.
Wow. so sweet. Thank you very much. You know, I think this might be a nice time for Peter and I just to say congratulations on 25 years in Toronto. And you people in Toronto are fantastic. Congratulations on 25 years of this convention.
Anybody out here actually been going to Fan Expo for all 25 years, or at least went to the original Fan Expo Canada 25 years ago?
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
25 years, amazing. All right.
Next.
I just want to say thank you. That was a wonderful story, particularly because not only have you set an amazing role model for all of us growing up, but even now, I'm here with my wife, and our son is 5, and his favorite thing in the world is Transformers. And it was wonderful to hear where your role model came for creating such a fantastic role model for our son growing up, particularly seeing one in essentially a militaristic position who goes beyond anything I've ever, as much as people have admiration for military positions, I think you've just transcended so much with that. So I want to say thank you. And it's totally okay if the answer to this is no, but as I said, you guys are his heroes. Is it possible to get you guys to just say something for our son that I could record? If not, it's totally okay.
What advice would you give his 5-year-old son to grow up right? He's already raising him on the Transformers, so he's doing that part of being a dad right.
Optimus Prime would say, young man, hold on to your dreams. The future is built on dreams.
How's that? That's wonderful. Do you have something as well?
Well, I think
Not that you have nothing to say. I would love to say, but that was so much already.
I think Curious George would say, translation is, the world can be a wondrous place. Always be curious. Curious, curious, curious.
Curious George is available for comment. I believe the Latin was not. He was on vacation.
Thank you guys so very much. Thank you.
Hey guys, this one is for Frank. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Claw, so I was wondering if you can recite a line from one of my favorite movies as Dr. Claw. Sure. The line is, people with no hope are easy to control, and whoever has the control has the power.
Are easy to control, and he who has control cannot remember the answer.
It's too long. I'm a voice actor. I gotta read that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And Dr. Claw thinks you're too good gadget now.
Thank you guys.
Just please, as a request, we're trying to get to as many questions as possible, so please request for recordings and so on. We'll only get to like 3 questions, so we want to get as many people in line, get their questions to these guys as possible. So please, questions only.
So this one is for Frank. We just heard the origin story about Optimus Prime's voice, and I would like to know where the inspiration for Megatron came from.
Who traumatized you, Frank?
Well, you know,
Broke your spirit.
because I made all of my life made noises and sounds and impressions, I've always kind of had this weird cave voice that was multiple sounds. I tried to make a bunch of voices at the same time, and if I can do it, it's like, I am a cave. There are many people in here. Whoa. So I thought maybe I could use a little of that, and then put some sort of kind of a Barry White bass to it.
Barry White, I love you, baby.
So kind of combining those.
I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons.
Thank you for that question.
Good afternoon. This is a question for both of you, and I'd like to preface it by saying the Bumblebee movie came out and seems to have set a precedent for handling the Transformers very well, keeping it faithful to the originals. So, assuming there are more coming, I'd like to know how much that's on your radar and what are your feelings or anticipations about new Transformers movies.
He wants you to break all kinds of NDAs. That's what it is.
Well, I'm really happy that they're going back towards the Generation 1 in that sense of feeling. This is our family, you know, this is our Generation 1ers, you know, we all have such great fond memories of that, and we're like a family. And I think the more that's expressed to the powers that be, Paramount Pictures in this case, Hasbro, the more they understand that Generation 1 is the heart and soul of of their industry, will they become convinced that going back to the roots would be the answer for the continued success. But other than that, I have no idea what they're going to do. I just hope that they do what you're hoping. That's what I hope.
You know, another thing too that along the same line that we were talking about is we're hoping, we've heard rumors, but you never know, would be to have the G1 characters and voices from the originals, because a lot of us, Steve wasn't in the original, but he could do any voice.
He's been adopted into the family, right?
Yeah, and he was in the Transformers Prime. But the G1 family, there's so many of us that are still around that can do those voices. We're hoping that maybe Hasbro or Paramount would put out a full-length feature animated version. So you'd see that whole beautiful thing. That's hope. So, you know, you can let them know if that's interesting to you, but really, yeah, the franchise will continue on, but in what shape, we don't know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, gotta watch voice actors. You can't just walk in front of them like that. We're just playing. You gave us another thing to do.
Hey guys, my question's for both of you. On the topic of different incarnations of the Transformers over the years and different characters or versions that you've voiced, I'm actually curious about a different one that you might not have. I don't think you guys did voices in Beast Wars. I was actually really curious if there was any like conversations with you guys about like from the voice actors that portrayed those roles, if they looked for you for inspiration or if you knew anything about the show.
Well, you guys had nothing to do with that show, right? I mean, when it's a situation where the characters that you were so well known for, they get somebody else, you know, it's something that, you know, I think speaking as fans, kind of burns us where we're expecting you guys to show up. I'm just glad that they brought you guys back.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I really didn't have anything, any input on that. I don't really, I'm not really too familiar with it. But I think your point is well taken. I remember a show that I loved when I was a kid was Bowling Gone Rocky. Yes. Bowling Gone. I wish that was me.
You know, that show is the reason I know what Edward Everett Horton sounds like.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Edward Everett Horton. Yeah. Welcome to Fractured Fairy Tales with Edward Everett Horton.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, any of those shows, when a voice changes for whatever reason, it's shocking because you all kind of become accustomed and it becomes part of you. And so I, just as a fan, am always shocked when I hear a different voice and usually not happy with it because I like the originals, but that's just me.
So do I. I was just curious.
I love you, man. Thanks for that question.
Next up.
Hi.
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty.
My question is for both of you. Over the course of your careers, have there been any roles that have been particularly challenging because they're either tough to do or it's brought out some deep emotions?
If I can add on to that, maybe even just a particular type of recording session that's especially grueling on you, whether emotionally or just physically, with your voice.
Well, no actor likes to do all the screaming and yelling and things that hurt. I did King Kong, played 2 roles. I played
I auditioned for it, you got it.
The sibling rivalry rears its head again.
That was a job you did not want to have.
That's why you got it.
Anyway, that's a horrible role because I did King Kong, I did 11 reels, and then I had to do the female giving birth to a young girl.
I'd like to see that.
Anyway, I was coughing up blood after I did that. I coughed up blood. And then this is when I ended up 2 weeks later going to 20th Century Fox to audition for The Predator. And I said, they wanted monster cells, you know, and I said, no. I said, what does it look like? And they went, and finally they were like, they went back to the last reel where he takes off his helmet and shows his face, you know, with all his fingers and stuff. And I said, I'm not going to be doing any gorilla sounds or any stuff like this, you know, but if I know what it looks like, maybe I can come up with something. And so they finally relented and they went back to that scene, and I saw an upside-down horseshoe crab on the beach in Massachusetts in the hot sun, and all the bubbles were coming out of its mouth, and it was making that. So I said, okay, there was a screen, they went to the first reel, and the first flash went across, and I said, bring the microphone down. It was a big studio mic at 20th Century. They brought it from up there on the ceiling. How the heck they could ever record me from way up there? I said, bring it all the way down. They brought it down 2 feet, said more, 2 feet, more, 2 feet, 2 feet. I finally said, bring it right here. So they got it, they shot the scene, and I went, boy, I had a wonderful carpet ride going through that movie. That was the easiest job I ever did.
Thank you.
We're running short of time. Oh, sorry. Oh, well, we're running short of time. I think if we go quick, I think we get 2 more. And then we've got something special for everybody, okay? Go for it.
Thank you. On behalf of everyone, thank you for the soundtrack to our childhood. We met yesterday in the science teacher. You've increased my credit in the classroom. Thank you. Quick question, Frank and Peter, what do you do, if anything, to get in the mood to do a big recording session? Do you listen to music, meditate, or just go for it? And very quickly, Peter, did Larry hear the voice of your iconic Optimus Prime, and what did he say to you? What do you think of it?
Well, I think the first thing when you go into a session for animation is you look at the picture, or the drawing, or the photograph, whatever it is that they're showing you. Sometimes they'll have a model of the character.
Flying here.
That's probably another actor. All right, we'll be done soon. Jeff Goldblum. I didn't think he was here this weekend.
Sorry. I didn't mean to get in your way. I know it's your time on stage.
Oh
my goodness. Yes, Transformers. They turn into
excellent. But that is very good.
Thank you.
So,
That's my whole repertoire, though.
very good. And then what you see inspires you. And then the other thing, of course, is the director gives you directions, and then it becomes, you know, you try to tune in on what his thinking is and what he wants and to complete it.
That goes for me too. Yeah, pretty much. That's the way.
Cool. I guess the other question was about your brother Larry. Did he hear
Yeah,
Optimus Prime, and what did you think?
Did Larry get to experience your performance as Optimus
Yes,
Prime?
he did. Yes, he did.
How did he think it rated? How did he feel about, you know, how well you got him?
He said, Peter. He didn't like limelight at all. He didn't like to be the center of attention. He said, Peter, okay, that's enough. But no, Larry, I mean, that's enough. Okay.
Cool, thank you.
So the good news and bad news that I've got, the good news is this has been amazing and once in a lifetime kind of stuff, right? The bad news is we are sadly out of time because we're on a very tight schedule, but I have more good news, and it's that the two of you prepared something special for us, yes?
Yes.
Now, as you guys get ready, a couple little bits of housekeeping. We've got Zachary Levi in here. We've got the Twisted Tunes live script reading in this room. Steven Seagal upstairs at about 3 o'clock. And if you're a fan of Red Dead Redemption, their Q&A has been moved to room 206 at 5:30 p.m. so that you know, things change all the time at conventions. But we want to make sure that you know so that you don't miss it. Has everybody had a great time with the two of these dudes?
Well, you know, a lot of people ask us to do a line or something here and there, and I know that you might appreciate it more if you got to see us actually do a scene. So this is Optimus Prime and Megatron doing a scene together. And as you know, most actors prepare when they do their scenes, and they do all this, well, we get our glasses.
He knows his lines, Frank.
You know, yeah, he knows his lines. Of course, the good guy doesn't need glasses. It drives me crazy.
No, he just to be silly. All right, we ready?
I feel better now.
Okay, we good? You ready to go? Let's take it from one.
So, here we stand, leaders of the Autobots and Decepticons. We alone control the future of this planet Earth and the universe beyond. We can share in the power and the destiny of all that lies before us, Optimus.
Megatron, it is not power I seek. I wish only to protect this planet, and I want no harm to come to these humans.
You fool! Why throw away your life so recklessly? With Energon from the Earth and our troops, we can rebuild Cybertron and control the galaxy, and the entire universe awaits us!
I will not endanger the Earth or its humans, especially Torontonians.
Then you will be forever my enemy, Optimus Prime. No one will stand in my way.
Cybertron has shown us that devastation comes from greed and power. One shall stand, and one shall fall.
So be it. Power through tyranny!
I will never give up hope. Hope that one day we shall stand as one. Until then, Autobots, transform and roll out!